Hi, I'm Adrian, and this is Emotional Bandwidth. Welcome. For the past 4 weeks, I've been exploring facets of relationships, and you can catch those episodes on Instagram or YouTube. But for the next couple of weeks, I want to explore the idea of feedback loops, more specifically emotional feedback loops, okay? Now, we know feedback loops are commonly used in economics and computing, and it basically states that positive feedback encourages growth and healthy results, whereas negative feedback loops can cause stagnation and slow results. When it comes to emotions, this absolutely holds true in all of our lives. Part of our personal development and growth would be to pinpoint these patterns and loops, acknowledge them, and determine if they are negative or positive or both. Here are some common examples of emotional feedback loops I've observed in people, including myself. And so for the next couple weeks, I'm going to give you one positive and one negative, and then one both, okay? So for this episode, I'm going to give you one positive and one negative. I'm going to start with the negative. The first negative one I'm going to explore is called an information-reliant feedback loop, okay? This is negative because we all want to feel like our knowledge is valuable, and most of the time it is. But what if we only valued our knowledge above everyone else's? One way to perpetuate this is to keep needy company and spend time around other individuals that either rely on your information or use you as the measuring stick for many of the things they do in their lives. The perceived positive effect is feeling valuable to the people that require your guidance. But this not only creates an environment of dependence, it stunts your growth by causing you to mostly believe that the information you receive and provide is the most valid information, despite possibly being exposed to facts and data that are contradictory. This type of person often wants to feel needed, but ironically hates it when the dependence they have created becomes a more permanent fixture, like a well that is constantly being tapped for water. What would seem like something that would make you feel important has now become a burden. Now that you've created this situation with friends and family alike, it can be hard to break this cycle. You are a prisoner to what you know, and subsequently, what others think you know. Okay, and I'm going to give you one positive one. A self-reflection feedback loop. As I always say, it's never personal unless it is. Being able to assess one's actions, being it self or otherwise, creates a very positive feedback loop and environment for you and the people in your life. Honesty with oneself is the fertilizer for growth that will allow you to fully mature and blossom healthily and productively. You understand that you are not perfect, and in these imperfections you find chances to not only reject these negative loops, but when noticed, change and correct them. Understanding that the world is not happening to you and that you ultimately have control over your feelings and emotions will allow you to become the best version of yourself for you, most importantly, and for others that you may influence and interact with in everyday life. And so, with that, I'm going to leave you with this. This was one example of a negative feedback loop and a positive feedback loop. What I'd like you to do as homework for our next session, or next week rather, I'm going to present one negative loop, one positive loop, and one that's a combination of both. But I want you to think, have you ever experienced any of these kind of loops, or have you ever seen these kind of emotional feedback loops in others? What are some that you can come up with in your life, whether they be positive or negative? If you feel like sharing, please leave it in the comments or message me. I'd love to hear about it. And as always, thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. This has been Emotional Bandwidth. I'm Adrian. Take care.